What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, it's been a couple weeks since my last upload, but it's for later. It's for a later topic. Let's get right into the video. Actually, before I get into the video, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. But let's get right into the video. Now, I know, you're gonna read the title, another Lakers video, and I get it's my third since the preseason. But thankfully, it looks to be my last for the season. It's no secret that this Lakers roster is in complete disarray. It seemed that each game that Russell Westbrook played, the acquisition looked more and more puzzling. And at this point of the season, the Lakers are not only the 11th seed in the West, but are mathematically eliminated from playoff contention and play-in contention. The most ironic part, to me at least, is that these Lakers are officially worse than the 2013 roster that had Kobe, Steve Nash, and Dwight Howard, that quote-unquote super team. If you've seen this 2021-2022 team play, the body language is poor, just on all facets. On the court, whether it's LeBron or AD or Russ, on the bench, during timeouts, just really didn't look like anyone wanted to be there after like the All-Star break. And I could say a bunch of things based on the scheme or the players on the roster and how almost everyone knew that this Russell Westbrook acquisition wasn't going to work. But in my opinion, that's been pretty much oversaturated in terms of the media, social media, and all that other stuff. And I don't really feel like beating a dead horse. So I'm going to go in a different direction for this video. And obviously, if you've read the title, you know where I'm going. I'm going to be discussing what potentially can come next for this Lakers organization. Starting at the bottom of the roster and working our way up, if I'm the Lakers front office, I'm going to aim to keep all the quote-unquote young talent that you have, and there's not many, or there's not much of it. I believe going into the season, this was the oldest roster in the league by a pretty large margin. I think it was actually the oldest roster in NBA history, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously they had some younger guys. Wenyen Gabriel, Austin Reeves, who were like two-way undrafted guys. They showed that they could contribute. I mean, I don't know how good they'd be on a better team, but I personally saw enough from these guys that I think they deserve a roster spot next year. And if they're not going to be good, why not give them a roster spot? Players like Stanley Johnson, who I really like. I liked him coming out of the draft. I'm glad he got kind of a comeback this season. He's shown he can be a really nice rotational defender on a good team. I think he brought a lot of value as a defender. He's still only 25, and I believe they have him under contract for next season already, which is a good move in my opinion. I think Stanley Johnson is going to have a long career, and I think this season with the Lakers definitely got his name back out there, I guess. In regards to the rest of the minimum contracts that were signed last offseason, Malik Monk is the only player I'd really worry about. He's on the vet minimum, which was very surprising last year. He's only 24 this season. I would expect him to get a bag this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in another jersey next season. But if the Lakers could re-sign him, by all means, they definitely should. At times, it seemed like he was the third or even second best player, depending on who the Lakers had out there available. He averaged 13.5 points this season on a little over 47% shooting from the floor, which were both career highs. And as I said, he is 24 years old, one of the younger players on this roster. But like I said before, it wouldn't surprise me if he's on another team next year. Kendrick Nunn, an interesting case study. Did not play the entire year. He is one of the younger players this season. He played in a preseason game before the season, was injured, I guess, was on track to come back, got re-injured or something like that. He already opted into his player option, so he'll be making $5 million next season. I think the Lakers could involve him in a trade, depending on what route they want to go. But he might still be on the roster. You don't know. But he's already locked in for next year. For the other expiring deals, I really wouldn't bother to bring much of them back. Maybe Melo, who kinda wasn't a bad scorer off the bench, but he's very limited as a defender, playmaker. He's kind of a ball stopper, but I mean he can kind of shoot, I guess. The other guys who were supposed to be 3-and-D players come to mind, like Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore. They can all go. They never really proved much of anything over the season. And they were minimum deals anyway, so you're not really losing much. Moving on to Talen Horton-Tucker, who the Lakers front office kind of sold out for a little bit in terms of last season giving him an extension. They let players like Alex Caruso, who I thought would have been a very good addition on the team this season. He's hooping in Chicago this year. They let him go. They signed Talen Horton-Tucker, who at times looked like one of the worst decision makers in the NBA. At times looked like one of the worst players in the NBA, which is ironic because I think just yesterday, recording this on the 8th, I believe he had like 40 points against the Warriors, which is kind of crazy. But there were times that this season that THT was just unplayable. But he's only 21. Depending on what happens with LeBron and AD, I could see him either being traded or he could be a key building block for the future, depending on what they want to do with him. Speaking of them, let's get into the main point of this video, the big three. 360, if you're LeBron, I guess that's what he calls it. Let's begin with the man who the Lakers decided to trade for in the offseason. That would be Russell Westbrook. It was a rough year for him, I'm not going to lie. I kind of felt bad for him as the season progressed, because as much as he was kind of playing like shit, his name was getting dragged through the mud on social media and on like ESPN, Fox Sports, stuff like that. He had a rough year. He's got a player option this season. If he accepts it, it's over $47 million next year. I know Lakers fans are desperately praying for him to decline the option, which honestly I think he might. I think there's a legitimate chance he rejects or declines the player option, because I believe Russ is a prideful man. And after all the turmoil he's been through with this season, not only on the court but off the court with the Lakers fan base, it would not surprise me if he sacrificed, went into free agency, and kind of looked to rebound from this year, because this definitely was the worst year of Russ's career. If he accepts it, I don't really see a path to which he is a Laker come opening night next season. He'll be in another jersey next season, whether that be a trade or him just declining his player option. If he does accept, I'm pretty sure I saw reports that the Hornets were a team to look out for in an acquisition for Russell Westbrook, which for Charlotte's standpoint, why would you want to do that? But I mean, for the Lakers, I'd be all over that. You can definitely get a young player or two out of that, maybe some picks, I don't know. Moving on to the real controversial part of this video, LeBron and AD. What I would do and what the Lakers front office would do is probably going to be different. I think they'll be treated very similarly by management in terms of them individually. The roster is nowhere near contending again. They showed that this season. And even if you're in the mindset that a healthy LeBron and AD can at least lead a team to the playoffs, it's asking a lot from Anthony Davis to be healthy. He hasn't played in over 70 games since the 2017-18 season. I know there were reports that the Lakers front office would look to explore potential AD trades in the offseason. I wouldn't trust Pelinka to make the right move, and that's even if he's there come the offseason. Personally, I think the Lakers need to capitalize on their limited assets now and dump LeBron and AD for picks while they're still under contract. They clearly won't get the same haul they traded for AD, but I think it's better than the Lakers being a bad team with no future like they are now. LeBron has another year on his deal, but by the way it looks right now, I don't see him re-signing after 2023. So why not get a haul for him instead of him just walking away in free agency? The Lakers went all in, acquiring LeBron James, trading for AD, and they did get a championship out of it 2 years ago. I think the front office needs to put their pride aside, though, and admit that the LeBron and AD era is probably over and start the rebuild. Setting yourself up for the future is the right move in this case, at least in my opinion. And now it's just a matter of doing it and looking towards the future. And I know it's going to be difficult for whoever's in the front office, whether it be Rob Pelinka or someone else. Something is going to happen. This roster is going to look totally different the next season. And I think it'll be interesting to see what route this team decides to go in. Addressing the elephant in the room. Haven't been posting much recently. School's been kind of kicking my ass. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. It seems to be lightening up a little bit, so that's good. 2, how to get a new Twitter. It'll be in the description. I'll probably post like a picture of it or something like right here. So follow me there if you aren't already. Don't worry, I've got some videos that I'm trying to work on. I have some ideas for some videos, so hopefully they'll be out soon. Bear with me, guys. Trying to post, trying to get stuff out there. But obviously, thanks for your support. In the meantime, it really does mean a lot. But yeah, I'll see you later. Peace.